Hey there, it's Alex at Big Interview, and now I'm going to walk you through how to do a practice interview. Pretty easy. You come here to Practice, and you choose Practice Interviews. Now, there's a few other categories here, but you can read more about those in the support material. Interview Roulette, Answer Builder, Question Library. Relatively straightforward. But let's start with Practice Interviews. Alright, so here you have every type of interview. General interviews, which are organized primarily by experience level, industry-based interviews, competency, public sector, admissions, and so on. Let's start with general interviews first. Okay, so here are all our interviewers. You see there's a lot of them here. They're organized primarily by experience level. So we have a few variations of the top 10 questions, but then everything from entry level, mid-level, managerial, internship, career change, and so on. And they get progressively more difficult. So they go from level 1 to level 3, where the attitudes of the interviewers and the questions get a lot more challenging, which you can kind of see in their faces, right? So in level 1, people are smiling and happy with life, and then by level 3, not so much, right? So the idea is that the questions get a bit more challenging, the interviewers are a bit more abrasive. All right, so let's look at an example here. Let's say I go to Pam under top 10 questions here. And now I get a pop-up. So if I had started this interview, if I had never done it before, I would have gotten taken straight to the actual practice section. But since I began this interview previously, I'm offered this option. I can either continue the interview or start over. Let's start over. That way we see a fresh one. Okay, so this is where all the practicing actually happens. So on the left over here, we have our interviewer, Pamela. On the right is me. This is what the candidate, the user, actually sees. This is me on my webcam here using the practice tool. This is what you'd be seeing on your webcam, or should be seeing. We see the first question here is walk me through your resume and background, and then the buttons. Pretty straightforward, right? We got play, record, previous question, next question. Very, very basic stuff. Not much of a learning curve here. We also have a tips section for a lot of these questions. So some of them have these tips as well for you. On the left, there's a playlist of all the questions that are part of this set, right? So you can kind of see at a glance what's coming up. So let's rock and roll. Let me record an answer here. I'll click the play button.
Walk me through your resume.
Pamela's saying, walk me through your background and your resume, right? And now I click start recording. And it counts down. 3, 2, 1, and I'm recording. Well, I think I'm an amazing person. I'm an amazing candidate. Please, please, please hire me. All right. Now I click stop. And obviously that's just a sample answer. It's not a real answer. It's not the kind of advice we're giving people in case you're concerned. But you can play back to review your answer. You can re-record if you messed it up. Or you can click save if it's a keeper. And of course, that was a keeper. So now my answer's been saved, and every time you save an answer, it actually gets saved to your own personal video library, which lives over here in the My Video section, which I'll show you in just a moment. All right, so let's say I'm happy with this question. I'm ready to move on. I click Next, and I can progress through.
What makes you qualified for this position?
Next is what makes you qualified for this position.
Describe your key
accomplishments. Why do you need a new position now? So on and so forth. So you kind of get the idea. You can progress through the entire set from beginning to end, but what's really nice is that you can also stop, take your time, and record multiple variations of answers to the same question until you feel comfortable and you're ready to move on. So you can breeze through what you're comfortable with, but really spend the time you need on any area that's giving you trouble. So that's a really, really nice feature. Also, every time you record a new variation, you'll see a thumbnail here below of each instance of a previous recording. So if you recorded 3, 4 variations to answers to this question, they would live down here as well. You'd be able to see them. Okay, cool. So we were just in the general section, which was organized by experience level. Let's look at some industries as well. So we were just in general. If I go to industries here, you have everything from accounting all the way through technology and everything in between. And we're constantly adding to these. If I choose one of these categories, like let's say a big one is healthcare, you can see every kind of profession here within healthcare, right? Nursing assistants, technicians, managers, and so on. If I choose, let's say, nursing, you have some options here. You have nursing advanced, nursing basic, you have some competencies. So if you're interviewing for a nursing position, of course, in addition to the skill sets of the job, you might also be asked questions related to people skills, calm under pressure, your decision making. So key competencies for a nursing role. And now if I want to practice one of these, I can just choose, let's say, nursing basic here, and I'm taken to the exact same kind of interface we saw earlier. So the way I do my practicing remains consistent throughout the whole site. right? We see the thumbnail here that I mentioned earlier. That was a previous instance of a recording to this particular question. Cool. Now, if you remember, I saved an answer earlier. Where does it go? Where does it live? Right here under My Videos. So this is where all my saved answers live, right? Most recent ones up here, walk me through your resume, your background. There's the date, the duration. Now here's where it's really cool. You have a self-rating and an external rating. So the self-rating, and I'm recording, allows you to see, if I click this, you see this pop-up come up with your original recording. And here you can rate yourself on 10 different verbal and non-verbal cues. So everything from eye contact, body language, and you can click save, and it tallies up your score. So you can see I gave myself a 4.8 here. Now the cool thing is you can also get feedback. So if you're working with someone, or you have a trusted advisor, a parent, a spouse, a counselor, whatever the case may be, you can actually share a bunch of your videos. Click Share Selected here, and then share a link to a page where those recordings live, and you can actually get feedback from someone you're working with. They can also rate you on those same verbal and nonverbal categories that we saw earlier and add comments and so on. Or you can share an email, pop in an email of someone you want to share it with directly. So you have a couple different sharing options here as well. So that's a quick tour of how the practicing actually works. If you have any questions, feel free to reach our support team, and good luck.